Alright, in today's video we're going to be exploring the speculative biology behind the supposed true form of Vilgax that we saw during Ben 10 Alien Force and Ben 10 Ultimate Alien. Without further ado, let's get right into it. It's hero time! For those who don't remember that Vilgax possessed this form, I don't really blame you, considering that this only appeared in the finale of Alien Force, and as far as I can remember, like 1 or 2 episodes of Ultimate Alien, so kind of underused. Don't blame me for forgetting that this existed. I'm going to be honest, for a long time, I did too. Today, we're going to be trying to figure out how Vilgax is able to enter this form, and how it functions from a biological standpoint. Because most real-life animals don't possess the ability to undergo a form change like a fucking final boss in a video game. At least as far as I know. Maybe excluding butterflies, that's a pretty extreme one. Also, yes, I'm very aware that the crew behind Alien Force just wanted an excuse to give Vilgax a Cthulhu-like form, so that's where Vilgax's true form comes from. But for those who are familiar with my channel, you know I'm the kind of person who likes to provide interesting alternative ideas to the oftentimes drab reality of things like this. So yes, I do know where this design's inspiration comes from, but that doesn't mean that I can't explore how it could potentially exist and function within the Ben 10 franchise itself. So, understood? Alright, great, let's get into it then. So my first lead as to how Vilgax was able to utilize this form was the 10 powers he absorbed from 10 champions across 10 worlds before he came to Earth for his rematch with Ben in Alien Force. Perhaps one of these powers, or perhaps the combined usage of multiple of these powers, would be the solution to figuring out how Vilgax was able to enter this form. So, let's look at those first. The powers Vilgax accumulated before his rematch with Ben were Fireproof Body, Flight, Eye Lasers, Enhanced Hearing, Wind Breath, the Shield of Seagull, the Ruby Ray of Rouleau, Space Survivability, Impenetrable Body, and Intangibility Interaction. Though each of these powers are certainly formidable, I don't see how any combination of them could allow Vilgax to transform himself into this true form state. So I think we can safely say that this form is a natural biological occurrence for Chimera sui generis, and not something exclusive to just Vilgax himself. So, how is this form possible? Well, we know for a fact that Vilgax, and therefore likely every individual of his species, are capable of coiling their tentacles together in order to form a bipedal humanoid body, as seen by the fact that here, Vilgax's body is shown to just be a mass of coiled tentacles, so we know that Chimera sui generis have flexible and malleable body structures that aren't necessarily constrained in their physical assembly, much like real-world octopi. Therefore, Vilgax's insides are likely not made of bone. Real octopi don't have any bones either, so they use the water around them to move. In the case of a species like the Chimera sui generis, powerful muscles could explain how they're able to maintain a firmer physical structure despite being boneless like real octopi, which is certainly plausible considering Vilgax's immense strength. Without bones, the body of a Chimera sui generis would be very flexible and dexterous. Now that we've established that the body of a Chimera sui generis is likely similar to that of a real-world octopus, albeit with much more powerful muscles and considerably higher intelligence, let's focus back in on how the species is able to undergo the transformation into their true forms. As we saw in Alien Force, Vilgax is only able to enter his true form by submerging himself in a body of water, and I think this is the key to figuring out how this particular ability functions. In the real world, you might know that a common kitchen sponge expands when it absorbs water through its pores. Perhaps the cells of a Chimera sui generis are able to absorb water in order to expand in size similar to a sponge, allowing their body to inflate to the ginormous sizes that we see in the case of Vilgax. It would also explain why Vilgax is only able to maintain this form in water, as he would likely collapse under his own weight if he remained on dry land for too long. Which would also explain why Vilgax seemed to be in pain when he washed up on the shore of Bellwood after the end of Alien Force. On top of that, it would explain why Vilgax began to shrink upon washing ashore, as the water in his body would be leaving and thus he would begin to deflate in size. This isn't too far-fetched to suggest, seeing as sea sponges use modified water flow systems to invoke their ballooning properties, and octopi are known for using water flow to generate the force required to move around. They're not exactly the same, but I mean, they use similar enough physics, so I mean, could work. With the powerful muscles within each of his highly flexible tendrils, Vilgax's body would certainly be able to withstand the transition into his true form as his cells began to bloat with the intake of water. Essentially, Vilgax's true form is actually just a Chimera sui generis with all of its tentacles uncoiled, and with the cells within its body expanding due to the intake of water. But with all that said, that's all I can really say on the topic. I hope you guys enjoyed, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and with that, let's move into our usual post-video routine. So, big thank you to our channel members, aka the Thunder Beasts as I've decided to call all of you, Boa310, Riverjoy, Adriana Jones, and our longest channel member, Victor Matusik. Now, looking at last video's poll, I asked you guys if you preferred Uprig, Humongoopsaur, Crash Shocker, or Atomic X. With 8.2k total votes, the results of the poll are on screen now. Big shout out to Joshua Boswell 3797, DJustice X, Lord Hades 8025, Lightning 3891, Cavendor 5286, that's Rubes by the way if anyone recognizes him, X Matter, Me 50164, Ela Johnson 9344, and Jorpda. Congratulations for guessing which one that I liked the most, which was Humungoopsaur, who I will always know as Goopmungosaur, and thus I will probably always call him Goopmungosaur, because in my head that just sounds better, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I even said it in the Atomics video, so you know it's ingrained in my brain. Now, onto this video's poll, I'm gonna ask you guys, do you typically prefer stories about superhero main characters, supervillain main characters, or anti-heroes / vigilante main characters? Shout out in the next video for anyone who can correctly guess which one I like the most in the comments. See you then, fellow heroes. Have a great day.